The personal plan, personalized road mapping. This is what we will be discussing in today's presentation. We'll talk about how to plan for your personal objectives and the milestone thereby. So let us proceed. First and foremost thing, we are looking to create a better future, a brighter future for all of us. And that is what we look to forward to. Let us understand the growth gears as in a person. First and foremost thing, we need to have an insight as a customer, as a company and a competitors. How do we go about it and how do we manage them? This is the point where we discuss the strategies thereby, the strategies that the markets, the promotional skills that has been offered, the positioning thing that we need to aspire for, and that is what we look forward to it. But does strategies having those things in the right place should be ensuring success? Probably not. What ensures success? It is not only an insight, it is not only the strategy, it is not only the formula, but also the execution and the implementation stage. Yes, execution requires resources, that requires tactics and other metrics that comes around it. This is the growth gear process. Remember, in this, with the additions of the execution strategy and insight, and if you can add, if possible, because of the new age requirement technology, I am sure you are looking for a longer time planning cycle, and success is going to be at your feet much more sooner than any time you have imagined. So basic idea is all about having the right perspective, the right strategies, and the execution part can be amalgamated with the technology and probably keep on learning upon the success thereby. So ensure that it become a habit. You need to have this continuum of this particular cycle for a longer variation. Remember, decide, are you ready? I'll tell you what has been changed over a period of time, and what is going to happen in next 10 to 15 odd years. Remember, more than half of the consumer products and services are research and driven investment. Absolutely half, more than half. You look at it, the electronic games that has been flooding the market altogether. The mobile phone, the smartphone was not as prevalent 20 years back. It's what I'm trying to predict it with an R&D for the next 10 or 15 years. Everything would be research and development based investment. It will be directing or redirecting your customer experiences time and again. Almost 20%. I'm giving a blogging blowing figure to you. Almost 20% of durable goods would be through e-tailers or online. Will be used 3D printing, to create personalized product offering altogether. Now, this is something which we are doing it right now. We are seeing an online delivery at the highest of the echelon, but I am going a step forward and looking for a 3D printing technologies to enable a customized product in due courses of time. The initial cost of ownership for a business will be reduced absolutely by 30%, one third through smart machine and industrialized services. Yes, earlier times to become an entrepreneur, to release up and set up a business, it used to take a tons of money. Probably that will not be the cases anymore. One in every five vehicle around the world would have some sort of wireless internet connection. And I am being conservative around it. I can be very, very true in the fact that four out of every five vehicle will be wireless internet connectivity based. In another 15 odd years time, customer experiences will overtake price and product. Remember, experiences will be the key differentiator. Experience will determine as to why the product will become a successful or not. It is the taste of the customer that is going to be playing a major role. The connected kitchen will contribute less than 15 or at least 15% saving in the food and beverage industries while leveraging big data analytics. Yes, that is true. Things have been pushed down the neck, as the case might be. There will be more than 100 billion connected internet or internet enabled devices in due courses of time. In fact, what I believe in short period of another 15 or 20 years time, everything would be internet enabled devices. It will be IoT or internet based technology. Internet of technologies would actually happens around it, and that is what you should be ready about, what you are looking for forward to it. For tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. That is what I have been saying it out. It is an African proverb that needs to be respected. As if for tomorrow, please prepare us. As in today, you need to believe yourself. You need to work for yourself. So, what is your vision? The foremost thing of your vision is create a compelling vision, one that takes people to a newer places and then translate that vision into a absolute reality. This is your vision, a compelling vision, and the best vision, which I believe is when you read it out, when you speak it out, people will actually laugh at you. People will actually smirk at you, believing that this is a pipe dream. Believe me or not, everything that was a dream of centuries back is a reality right now. So, yes, create a compelling vision altogether. Now, how to incorporate your vision to your team's DNA? Now, this is where you need to solicit support. And how do you go about it? You look at it that five wonderful person actually looking through a maze of things and planning how they are going around it. This is a vision comes alive when everyone believes in what you or she can contribute that can make a difference, when everyone sees where he or she will be at the end of a particular period of time. And that is the point when you not only require support, when you not only garner support, but you actually are are flooded with support altogether. That is when the vision comes reality. You are seeing the differences. The strategic roadmap is valuable tool for an organization to collectively visualize its future long-term directions that is there. That is what we are looking forward to it. Remember, in terms of inputs, what is there? There is something what we have been seeing around in terms of an insight that comes around it. The market offerings, the product offerings, the services, the application that has been mentioned. We need to incorporate technologies because internet will be factual, internet will be seamless, internet would be a must thing altogether. Technology assessment is competence and knowledge that comes around it. Offering technology options evaluation is what the input would always be. This in itself will create a roadmap for you to understand altogether. Remember, the input is this thing, the insight, the offering of market analysis, the identifying of technology, the technology assessment, offering technology options evaluation is the roadmap that comes around here. Is then what we will talk about the defined targets, as in the outputs and the project proposal. This is what the output is all about it, wherein we are telling everything that needs to be done and minutely detailed from it. Right from the inputs to the output, I have tried to jot down exactly where we are moving. And remember, technology, internet plays a pivotal role. Remember, big data analytics does help. Remember, machine learning is a factual thing. Remember, artificial intelligence is here to stay. And that is what we are looking for it. That is what I say the roadmap process boundaries is all about it. So, way back, how do we go across it? Let's say 2022, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and things like that. How do we follow it out with the relevance part of it? Where do we need to go around here? We need to understand the perspective every now and then. In the first year, in the initial years, is the insight, is the offering of the markets. So it is all about the relevance that comes around it and the strategy that goes around it is what we are talking about it. Remember, it is only in the execution part, and execution part is the resources that you have. And I have deliberately brought in technology because right now it is not food, clothes, and shelter being the basic requirement. It is food, clothes, shelters, and technologies without which you just cannot exist altogether. So look for planning horizon. Remember, you need to plan for a longest period of time. We are talking in the graph that has been shown, and this is how things will change to from 5 years from today itself. You look at the quantitative and qualitative products output thereby. You need to understand that what we have been saying and around, that is what which is going to achieve in a shorter duration of the time. Remember, on x-axis we are planting focus being qualitative and quantitative. Quantitative being numbers being zero and qualitative being everything being customized altogether. Uncertainty becomes also being plotted on a y-axis. Uncertainty where they're absolutely stable, where we are looking at only just at the numbers. But when uncertainty becomes high, become people become finicky, and expectation and customer experiences take as a predominant effect. And that is what we are talking about: high uncertainty and qualitative. By the end of 5 years, things will change. So as you move further out in time, the road mapping process uses more qualitative data, and outcomes are less predictable. Absolutely cannot be gauged at the beginning. You need to be prepared. You need to be proactive rather than being a reactive. So three postures that I want to predict before I wind up this particular presentation is this: that we need to have a risk and investment strategies in terms of which we want to go around it. The higher the risk, the higher the gain that will be there. So always have the reserve in the time framework. Invest sufficiently to stay in the game, but avoid premature commitments altogether. That is what we have been talking about, being a risk and investment. In terms of performances, win through speed, win through agility, win through flexibility in recognizing and capturing opportunities in an existing market. This is what is the truth fact is all about it. It is your lightning abilities to assess a situation and cash it out altogether. So be there. The risk and witness mean adapt to the future. And the first thing, reserve the right to play. The second is adapt to the future. And the third part is where you take the lead and shape the future for yourself. Play the leadership role in establishing how an industry operates. For example, setting up a standards and creating of a demand, as the case might be. We come to the last slide for the day is the decision support tools for a longish period of time. The longer the period of time as to understand how well you function. Remember, everything that has been understood as with the cost and revenue models are all about here. You should calibrate it, you should test it, you should understand what goes around and what is to be done depending upon how you're going to go about the outcomes. If you can predict the outcomes, well and good, but in most cases you cannot predict the outcomes. So what can you do? You can predict, or you can limit the exposures of your cost and revenue model. So on an x-axis, let me plot cost and revenue model. On an x y-axis, can we look for plotting the possible outcomes, and let me see where there is something which is very low. Absolutely very calibrated, understood cost model, and very ability to predict is everything which is very stable. Now this is capital budgeting tool. It is all about DCC, or discounted cash flow, or internal rate of return, or the expected rate of return. This is quantifying as we increase the complexity, as we lessen the amount of understanding the revenue model, as we lessen the amount of the ability to predict the possible outcomes. We move from quantitative multiple scenarios, that is, to a qualitative scenarios wherein the analysis is supplemented with case-based decision. So we do not understand the revenue, but probably we have seen that similar things actually function. So yes, the outcomes might be predicted if it has been there. So it's a case-based decision. But what happens when we absolutely do not understand anything about neither the cost and the revenue model are not the possible outcome? So it's a case-based decision using industry that faces similar situation, similar reference pointed, similar happenings around the globe, and how do we go across with it? But what happens when you have cost under your control, absolutely under your control, but you do not know what will happen to the outcomes? It's again a case-based decision where an industry faces similar situation, reference pointed, and goes about it. So this is where you need to understand what decision support system works for you on a longer period. Remember, on an x-axis is the revenue model, on a y-axis is your possible outcomes, and the four quadrant comes around it. This ensures that I have done the best for you to understand how do you predict, how do you plan for yourself in your future. Thank you for watching this video.